Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. As a Christian, for me, this is a special week. It's Holy Week. It's a week leading up to Easter. And usually in morning mindfulness, I talk about renewing your mind, transforming your mind, deciding what you want, and going out and allowing it to happen, not forcing, but making it happen through transforming your mind. Neuroscience says you can transform your mind, but even before science started talking about renewing your mind, the Bible talks about transforming your mind, transforming your life by renewing your mind. So today I'm going to read from a little book called God Works Through Faith by Robert A. Russell. Now, some people talk about universal intelligence, but there is a creator. There is one creator. Some people don't like the word God because it's so divisional between religious leaders and politicians and the world. But I want to talk to you today about faith. Faith in whatever you believe in, God, Holy Spirit, universal mind, your higher self. You have faith that you have faith that you can do certain things, like you already know how to walk, how to tie your shoe, how to do certain things. And then at other times you don't have faith in yourself that you can do something big, something you really want, something that you think is too big for you, it's too much for you. But if you realize that God works through you and you use a Bible quotation, I can do anything through God, that can help you build your faith that whatever you want, better health, a loving relationship, sufficient income so that you don't have to worry. When I talk every day about what do you want, most people don't want to be super wealthy. They don't want all material things. They want a peaceful, joyful, loving, fulfilling life. And so today I'm going to read what faith is from the little book God Works Through Faith by Robert A. Russell. Did you ever contemplate the things that happen through faith? Not the things that could happen or the things that might happen, but the things that do happen, the things that are happening now? Where did faith come from? You were born with the characteristics of faith, for it is inherent in mankind. Protected from the moment of your conception, you emerged into the world with the expectation of continued security. You accepted the loving care of your parents, food, shelter, guidance, without question. You not only accepted, but demanded in a loud, imperious voice the things that gave you emotional and physical comfort. You took your first steps in confidence in the loving hand that held you, and you were not too discouraged by a few bumps and tumbles. You smiled and expected a smile in return. Today, you walk to work or you drive or take a bus, and you expect to arrive at your destination all in one piece. You accept a job expressing faith in your potential. You marry with faith in the one you have chosen and faith in your power to provide for your family. In other words, you have faith in yourself, and that is actually faith in the God within you. Think about this. You eat food prepared by countless hands that you never see, and you wear clothing made by persons you will never know. You trust the taxi driver to take you to your destination, the barber to shave your face, and the cook to prepare your meals. How do you know the taxi driver won't take you to some out-of-the-way place and hold you up, or that the barber will not cut your throat, or that the cook will not poison your food? Because your faith in your fellow man, and that too is faith in one God, who, according to St. Paul, is above all and through all and in you all. 3 gifts are yours. When mankind walked out from God's finished thought, he bore 3 gifts. Life, that is energy, animation by which to live. Mind, the power to reason, select, understand, and know. Mind by which to become aware of God, of himself, and his environment. And faith, trust, confidence, assurance, faith by which to penetrate the invisible and hold God's promises until they are realized in him and for him. What is faith? The St. James Version of the Bible says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Moffat translates the words in this way. Now, faith means that we are confident of what we hope for, convinced of what we do not see. What comforting words, evidence, assurance, conviction, substance. Faith is the belief that you have the power to do all things. It is a magnetic power that attracts the answer to your prayer. Results do not come by chance, accident, or fate. They are molded by your faith in your power through God. Faith is the glass under the faucet. It is the water wheel under the waterfall. It is the windmill adjusted to the wind. It is the sunflower facing the sun. It is the ear at the telephone. Success, reduced to its lowest and simplest forms, is faith expressed in action. When you truly believe that what you have in your heart, what you hope for, what you wish for is yours, it's planted in your heart, and you can do all things through God. Don't question that beautiful goal, that dream, that desire, that's too hard, too big. It's not meant for you. You wouldn't have the idea. You wouldn't have that eager expectation, that anticipation, that feeling that you would love that unless you could accomplish it through your faith, not through your own forcing and hard work, but through infinite power. Robert Russell says, faith is a mental attitude against which there is no possibility of contradiction. If that attitude is directed toward God, it becomes your ability to do anything. When you pray or treat, you have a right to expect an answer to that prayer or treatment, providing your conviction is in line with the nature of God. Your mind, however, must be so convinced of its idea, it must so completely accept it that contradiction or denial is impossible. When you have absolute faith, There is nothing left in you to contradict your treatment. Faith is the bridge between the physical and spiritual world. You have the privilege of crossing on the bridge at will. Faith not only makes old things new, but it is the point of contact between God and mankind. It is the means by which we identify ourselves with the allness of God. Through our faith, God fulfills his promises. Through our faith, his good becomes visible and usable. Your desire is impressed upon the subconscious mind through feeling. Faith holds the idea of desire in substance until it takes form. Faith is the most dynamic and transforming force in mankind. To become mighty in the individual, it needs only a chance to exercise itself. As students of truth, we must work for the highest and most complete state of faith, for faith is the wire along which omnipotence moves. In that state, there is no longer anything in us to deny, doubt, or divide the truth that we affirm. We shall never perfect our faith. However, by talking about it, reading about it, waiting for it, or wishing for it, we perfect it by applying it to every phase of our living, to the little as well as to the big problems in our lives. Faith is not just a stirring up of the imagination. It is an actual power which acts upon our words. It enables us to see things as God sees them, without blur or distortion. Faith not only leads mankind into a definite course of action, but opens the way for the power to flow along the uncongested circuits of his thought. No longer hampered by doubts, fears, and worries, man becomes, as Emerson says, the inlet and the outlet for all that there is in God. The highest faith is whole, continuous, triumphant, and victorious. It admits no contrary evidence, no fear, no opposition, no separation, and no limitation. Hope says that it could happen or it might happen. Faith says that it will happen. It is the moving force in all creative processes. Faith is the agent of healing, of prayer, and of demonstration. It is the power to accomplish all things through Christ. All things are yours, and you are Christ's, and Christ is God's. The man of faith experiences wholeness. Thy faith has made thee whole, said Jesus to the woman who touched his garment in search of healing, to the blind beggar, and to the leper who returned to give glory to God. Faith is an individual power. Why did Jesus pinpoint thy faith? Why not the faith of someone better trained or better equipped spiritually than you recognize yourself to be? He was showing us that the whole process takes place within the individual consciousness. Within my consciousness, if I'm seeking the rewards of faith, within your consciousness, if you wish to experience wholeness. Why do we ask for another's help? Why do we have practitioners? When the evidence of the senses seems to overpower us, when we cannot see reality through the cloud of false evidence, We are often impelled to seek the help of one whose vision is not obscured by our problem. But unless we meet the faith of the helper with 100% agreement, we are no better off than we were. Our faith is still essential. The answer precedes the problem. Robert Russell says, "Do you remember the place in which Jesus could do no mighty works because of their unbelief? Could healing not have taken place in Nazareth? The truth is that the works were already done spiritually in that place as they are in all other places, but they had to await the recognition of the people concerned before they became visible on the material plane." Do you see now why it is your faith that makes you whole? It makes you whole because in reality you are whole already. Your faith simply acts to reveal that which already is. The works come automatically to the heart that believes. We do not see the law of faith, but we know its power by what it does. Our task is fourfold. Number one, to become aware of that which eternally is, the omnipresence of God. God is. God is in you, around you, and working through you. Number two, to claim the good we desire through faith, recognition, and realization. When you have a beautiful image in your mind, a desire in your heart, that is a spiritual gift waiting for you to unwrap. It is meant for you. It is meant for you to bring it into physical reality through the works of your human hands, to claim it, to have the faith that it is yours, to recognize it, to allow it, to realize it. Realization is bringing it into physical form, and that is the last step. It starts in your mind and in your heart, in your intellect, and then in your physical reality. It becomes your experience through your faith, through your belief, through your actions. So number one, to become aware of that which eternally is, the omnipresence of God. Number two, to claim the good we desire through faith, recognition, and realization. Number three, to accept the desire as fulfilled. The wish is already granted. You don't have to figure it all out. Accept the desire as already fulfilled. It's yours now. How do you feel? Get into that energy. Allow that energy to, the frequency of that vibration to wash over your whole body, to feel it through you, feeling as if it's already yours, knowing it. Number four, to realize our oneness with God until the feeling of fulfillment comes to us. Faith is a realization that all good is in instant manifestation. If our prayers were not answered, if our needs were not met before we prayed, there would be no point in praying. Jesus said, "Before ye call, I will answer, and while you are yet speaking, I will hear." Whatever needs to be done is already done. Whatever is needed is already supplied. There is no life apart from God. There is no power apart from God. There is no being apart from God. There is only one mind, one life, power, substance, and love in which we live and move and have our being. When we get the realization of this truth, the whole outer world changes. Discordant factors are harmonized, problems are solved, difficult tasks are made easier, and diseases are healed. The tenor of our lives becomes harmonious. Faith acts on the level of our consciousness. Life is a state of consciousness. Nothing can come to us except as consciousness. It is all that we are, all that we are aware of, all that we believe. We add to it or take from it with every experience. The level of our consciousness determines our faith, and that level is of our own making. Faith is the starting point of every affirmation, prayer, and treatment. But without recognition of it as evidence of the Father within, without awareness of the closeness of our relationship to Him, without acceptance of His promises, without the realization of the omnipresence of God, it is likely to end as wishful thinking, daydreaming, or mere desire. As you rise in consciousness to the awareness of your oneness with God, you will discover that there is no place for negation. It is not person, place, or thing, therefore it has no reason for being. Disease is a negative faith operating through man, but it isn't the man and therefore does not belong to him. That is why you must separate the belief from the believer in your mind. If evil had as much power as good, the universe could not exist for a second. According to Jesus, you must empty the mind therefore you can reach a heavenly state. He that loses his life shall find it. When you lose your sense of personal power, the God power awaits your use. If God is, He is all there is, and all things are possible to you because of your faith or conscious oneness with Him. Now, don't tell the world how wonderful it is until you have proved it for yourself. Faith without works is dead. The primary purpose of spiritual therapy is not to make unhappy people happy, or sick people well, or poor people rich. It is not to solve problems or to establish better and healthier living conditions. These are results. The primary object is to help people realize the presence of God, get acquainted with God. Acquaint now thyself with God and be at peace, thereby good shall come unto thee. To most Christians, God is a name rather than a warm and living presence. We talk about Him, sing about Him, read about Him, preach about Him, and pray to Him, but very few of us take the time or trouble to get acquainted with Him. How then can we know Him as a very present help in trouble? When will we learn that faith cannot lift us any higher or take us any further than the level of consciousness on which we function? That it cannot take out of consciousness something which is not already there. or that it cannot give us anything that is not already given. If I want to know about electricity, how to use it and how to direct it, I associate myself with electricians who are experts with dynamos, motors, copper wires, switches, and transformers. Through them, I come to the realization of electricity. If I want to know about music, I associate myself with outstanding musicians, with musical instruments and compositions. Through them, I come to a realization of music. If I want to know about painting and how to paint, I engage the best teacher I can find. I associate myself with artists, with paints, brushes, and canvas. I study the masterpieces of the world, and through all these, I come to the realization of painting. If I want to get acquainted with you, I must identify myself with you. I must associate with you and be a companion to you. I must give you my thought and time. I must study your mind and nature. If I am to understand you, I must know all about you. I must surrender to you. How does one get acquainted with God? How does one get to know Him? Only by practicing His presence. God must become to us a living, pulsating presence. He must become as real as our friends or the members of our family are to us. We must know Him, not as a cold and lifeless name, not as a vague and misty personality, but as an actual living partner. The first function of faith is to make God real, to make Him as real to us as He was to Jesus, John, and Paul. Where is God? Within each one of us. Not within us in the sense that He is within our body, our solar plexus, our brains, but within our consciousness. I and the Father are one. When you realize that God is not in one place and you in another, when you understand your oneness with Him and can say and believe, I and the Father are one, your word will accomplish that whereunto it is sent, according to the promise. When you believe that your desire is already fulfilled, believe that what you are asking for is already yours, you have put your faith to work, and what you see will be manifested in your experience. You have the word of Jesus that this is so, for He said, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. And all things, whatever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. You are one with God. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.